Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Jason Barr along with Pat Parris. It's the Huddle, KGUN9's weekly streaming sports talk show. We come to you every Tuesday at this time. Pat, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Jason. Excited.
All right. We've got our special guest this week is Aari McDonald. She is guard for the LA Sparks of the WNBA, of course, former University of Arizona star. And WNBA right now might be the hottest league in professional sports. Aari, it's Jason and Pat here at the KGUN9 studios in Tucson. Thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And I tell you what, I know you had a rough game this past weekend, but before then, you had a string of double-digit scoring games. You've been doing really well recently. Crack the starting lineup. What's been working for you recently with LA?
I think just coming out my shell and just getting more comfortable with the offense, the coach's terminology, most importantly, my teammates, and just also I've just been having a aggressive mentality on the offensive end.
Aari, you've been in the league a few years now. Tell me what this year is like compared to years past. I'm guessing you're feeling like you have a lot more eyes on your sport right now, and you certainly have a lot of more people commenting and putting in their 2 cents worth.
Oh my goodness. I would say what's different, like you said, is just like all eyes. Everyone is watching the league right now. And another difference from years past, I would say the physicality. Like it is so physical this year. It's crazy.
Aari, when did you first realize this season, hey, something's a little different here? We got a lot more fans. There's a lot more people watching. When did it first kind of hit you?
For one, I would say the draft, just seeing, how many people tuned in and watch. I mean, I think that was very different from years prior. I just started watching games, especially certain games, you can see like the viewership and just how many people like tuned in. I think that's crazy. And I just think it's a great thing as well that everybody's tuning in and watching the game and just supporting.
Yeah, you were the third overall pick in 2021, and I don't think there were quite as many people watching that draft as we're watching this last one. You mentioned the physicality. Why do you think it's changing? Is it just the maturity of the league, or what's going on here?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the the vets, I think they still have something to prove to us young ones. So I don't know. It's a lot more physical this year.
We're joined by Aari McDonald, guard of the LA Sparks, former Arizona Wildcat great, of course. And the LA Sparks play the Phoenix Mercury this Friday in Phoenix on Ion TV, sister station of KGUN9. All right, Aari, let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about. Okay, Caitlin Clark, of course. What is your take on Caitlin Clark? Do you resent all the attention to her? Are you happy with that it's brought to the league? You guarded her. We'll get to that in a second. But first, your thoughts on the whole Caitlin Clark situation as a whole.
I don't resent anybody or just the attention she's getting. She's a great player. I've been watching her since her freshman year at Iowa. Great shooter. Has a high basketball IQ, a great passer. I've been watching her right now, and I think society has put a lot of pressure on her. But I mean, I still think besides all that, all the noise, I think she's still delivering. I think she's playing at a really high level right now, and she's doing a great job of adjusting to the league and just leading her team. So I mean, it's a good thing to see, and she has brought a lot of eyes to our league along with other rookies. But I mean, hey, she's doing her thing. So I mean, kudos to her.
Yeah, I think she's leading rookies in points and assists right now, and so yeah, she's delivering for sure. Do you look at it almost like you're too young to remember this, but Jason and I remember when Tiger Woods burst onto the PGA Tour, and it just drove ratings way up, and it drove the revenue up, and it drove the purse money way up for golf. It almost seems like that's a similar thing happening here, whether it's all just because of Caitlin Clark or not. She certainly is bringing more people to the game, and your ratings are up. When that means you guys are going to make more money at some point too, because the revenues go up.
Yeah, it's a great thing though. I think all the attention and just everything that the league has been receiving this year. I mean, I think it's a good thing, and just especially, I mean, I always got to thank the pioneers that came before me and just the other players. I mean, they paved the way for us, and then just with this rookie class and just these young players coming up now. I mean, I think they're doing their part. They're carrying the load, and they're taking to the game to another height that it's going to be amazing just for years to come.
Nobody plays defense with the type of intensity that you do. I'm going off memory here, so I might be wrong, but I think one year it was Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, and I think the other year was Pac-12 Co-Defensive Player of the Year. You can correct me if I'm mistaken, but what was it like to guard Caitlin Clark? What was that experience like?
Oh, it's nonstop movement. She moves a lot. You just have to be active. Really deep range. Like you would think, okay, she's not gonna shoot it. And it's like, oh snap! Like she shoots it. Like her release is quick. But I mean, it was good though. It's she tied her shoes up just like me. So I mean, it was just like guarding any other person, honestly.
Well, as just like her, when you get drafted very early in a draft, that generally means you're going to a team that's been struggling, right? Because you wouldn't be being drafted by that team if they were coming off a championship. They would be picking way later in the draft. So in that sense, you go to the Atlanta Dream. Now you traded to the LA Spark. You look at a player like Caitlin Clark who gets drafted by the Indiana Fever. So you really are kind of up against it, aren't you, as a rookie, or now you're in your third year where you're trying to help elevate a team like she's trying to help elevate the Indiana team.
Yeah, it's tough. You just obviously it goes off, what the team needs, and obviously, like you say, it goes off the team record from the prior year.
Right.
I mean, it's tough. You got to adjust. You got to find your way, and you just gotta, do the things that got you to the league. And I just think, also just being a great teammate, learning your team, learning the system, and just, just being that extension of the coach on the floor. But I mean, regardless of the team you get drafted to, I mean, you just gotta go try it there and be like an instant impact, in my opinion.
Yeah, speaking of top rookies, certainly Angel Reese is one, and then Cameron Brink, somebody who you played against, and when she was at Stanford, and certainly in that championship game. What type of relationship were you able to experience with her when she was healthy, and what did her injury do to the team?
I love Cam Bam. I'll never forget. I think it's the first day of training camp, and we were just talking to each other. We were like, "Man, aren't we glad we're on the same team now? Like we faced each other too many times, like three,
Right.
4 times my last year at college." But man, love her. Just a good person, a sweet soul, just always high energy and just always so positive and just bubbly. So I mean, just missing out on a player like this rest of the season, like a rim protector, somebody who sets good screens, who can stretch the floor. I mean, her injury, it's hard on us. We definitely missed her on the defensive end, but I mean, all we can do is just pray for her and just hope, that recovery is going well and just, the comeback's going to be great.
Aari, you mentioned the players that came before you building this league so that players like you, and Cameron and Angel can come in and along with Caitlin Clark and kind of elevate this league to that next level as well. But one of those players that really helped lay the foundation for you was your former head coach at the U of A, and Adia Barnes. What kind of guidance did she give you going into the league, and how much of a guidance does she give you now as you continue in the league?
Ooh. Yeah, before I even stepped foot into the league, when I told Dia that I had aspirations of going pro or just going to the next level, she would reach out to like friends, like, hey, like, what do you think of Aari? Like, how can she grow? So I mean, she always she kept it real with me. She was honest, let me know what I need to grow on. And I didn't mind it at all. Like, hold me accountable, make me better, push me to be the best version of myself. And just just having a coach and just playing for a coach who's played in the league, played at a high level, played for many years. You have to listen to her. Like, she's been there, done that. So I mean, I know that she will never steer me wrong. But just, I mean, I thank God for her advice. I mean, we still talk to this day. She introduced me to people and just make sure I'm in the right circles and just making sure my head is on straight and just keep doing what I'm doing.
Jason Barr, Pat Parris, joined by Aari McDonald, who helped, along with Adia Barnes and some others, take University of Arizona women's basketball from one of the weaker programs in the country to the verge of the national championship, all the way to the title game. I forget how many points you dropped at Texas. I want to say it was something like 50. Maybe that's grown over time, but that's one of my favorite memories of yours. Look at you laughing. What are some of your? Give me a couple of your favorite memories from playing with the Wildcats.
For sure, the Texas game, for sure. I would say beating Stanford at home.
Oh, that's for you.
Yeah.
Oh, What else? Oh, and winning NIT. I mean,
For
that was a
sure.
crazy
That
run.
was, yeah, that was
Those
amazing.
are for sure my top memories as a Wildcat.
Yeah, the defensive job on Paige Beckers, she couldn't do
Yes.
anything. That's got to be up there too.
Yeah.
And
Of course, the tournament run my last year.
Yeah.
That was
yeah,
there.
Yeah.
those
Do you still have those those moments where you go, oh, if we just would have done this, or when they done this, we would have been national champs? Or have you, kind of come to a realization, hey, second place wasn't too shabby?
Of course, I think about that a lot. I was just talking to I think one of my family members, and it's just like I was just able to watch that Stanford game maybe like 2 years ago. It was so hard for me to watch, especially knowing like what could have been. But I mean, it is what it is. Everything happened for a reason, and I'm just glad I was able to, make those memories with some special people around me, and just I went out with a bang, and now that got me to the place of I'm living out my dreams right now.
Yeah. Well, I would make the argument if you didn't have that run and perform so well, you wouldn't have been drafted third overall, obviously.
Surely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah. I mean, it all happens for reasons you said, but man, you were just that close,
Right.
just that close.
The LA Sparks play at the Phoenix Mercury on Friday on Ion TV. Does playing back in Arizona mean anything, or is it different because it's 100 miles away and a professional game?
Playing in Arizona has always been special to me. It's something about the state of Arizona, honestly. I tell people that all the time. It's like when I leave and I come back, I just feel so much love. It's it's crazy. But I mean, I'm hoping to see, a lot of my big supporters there, like Coach Barnes and the Wildcats program. And just I even have friends, that come and family that's there. So I mean, it's a special place to be.
What's your next goal for yourself, and what's the next thing for Aari? Is it getting this team that you're with, LA, to a championship contender?
Of course, anywhere I play, I want to reach the playoffs. I know last year, my third year, excuse me, we made to first round of playoffs, and that was my first time ever making playoffs. And so I just want to be better each year. So instead of making the first round, I want to keep advancing, maybe go to second round. But honestly, the next thing for me is just to keep growing my game, to keep getting comfortable with my teammates, just the system where I'm at now. And then I think just keep putting that work, and everything else will take care of itself.
Aari McDonald, guard for the LA Sparks, former Arizona Wildcat. The Sparks play at the Phoenix Mercury this Friday on Ion TV. Aari, thanks so much for a few minutes here with me and Pat on the Huddle. We really appreciate it. We wish you continued success, and we'll see you play Friday and keep up with you down the road.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Aari.
That was Aari McDonald of the LA Sparks, and great to see her doing well. Pat, when a player is drafted third, you want them to have a big impact, but the Atlanta Mercury didn't play her a lot. And this coach, the LA Sparks, Kurt Miller, seems to really believe in her a little bit more, and their system seems to fit her style. So great to see her doing well.
Well, and maybe that was the situation as they saw an opportunity with that trade. Atlanta made a trade, and maybe they felt like they both were winners. And I think for Aari, she's a winner in this because you not only see her points now double digits, over the last 4 or 5 games, but also her minutes are way up. I mean, she's playing 25 minutes, 29 minutes a game. So she might come off the bench. She started a couple of times, so she might come off the bench, but her minutes are going to be more than a lot of the starting point guard. So good for her. She's sometimes it just takes a couple of years to get really settled in, and now she's really playing well.
Speaking of the WNBA, that sets us up for our Huddle poll question this week. WNBA attendance and ratings are surging. I think 1 million people, Pat, over 1 million people watched Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark play this past weekend. Attendance has doubled. All right. So WNBA attendance and ratings are surging. A, it's about damn time. I took that off the pop song from a couple years ago. B, the salaries now need to go up. Right? They're low compared to what else. Or the WNBA can thank Caitlin Clark. Pat, as you like to say, sometimes there's a little bit of truth. The multiple things can be true at the same time.
That's right. That's right. You got to pick one.
I did vote for C, though. I think while the WNBA would be up this year regardless, I don't think to the extent it would be not just Caitlin Clark, but the rival with Angel Reese, Cameron Brink as well. Right. So I do have C, but certainly A and B are fine as well to vote for.
I voted for C as well, but I'll go down the list. You can say it's about time, right?
You can say damn.
You can say
it, Pat. Say it.
You can say it's about damn time. You can say that, but in a lot of ways you'll say, okay, but the WNBA kind of had to raise its level of game, and I think that's happened over the last few years. So it was getting there regardless. The salaries need to go up, and they will, but it's got to be market driven. You can't just, there's some talk earlier on about, oh, they need to do revenue sharing. That's how these women are going to get that money, is revenue sharing. Well, guess what? The league is still subsidized by the NBA teams because they're not making any money. So if you want a cut of zero, you can have revenue sharing of zero. So that's not really a reasonable ask right now. But I thought, see, you can thank Caitlin Clark, but I also, maybe in parentheses, you say that rookie class, because there's multiple players in that rookie class along with Caitlin Clark that, because of the rivalries that had developed, LSU, Iowa, what Stanford has done the last couple of years, I think that it was just inevitable that they were going to make it to the WNBA, and that was going to push ratings up as well.
All right. So the other big sports story, certainly Tucson related here today and this week, and it's just kind of continued. It happened fast, and then there's just been new developments, and that's the Roadrunners and the Coyotes. And the latest reports now have Alex Morello, the owner of the Coyotes, planning to dissolve what's left that he has of the franchise, being the name brand logo and rights to an arena in the Phoenix area. Dissolve that. And then, so where does that leave the Tucson Roadrunners, which he also owns? He also happens to own a casino in Reno and is planning on building an arena next to that, where he will take according to reports, he will take the Roadrunners. Nevada, University of Nevada basketball has already agreed to play there, and also he'll have concerts there. And the Roadrunners have said, well, we're going to be an AHL market regardless if he leaves or not. There's now 3 years left on the lease. It's going to take at least 2 years to build the arena. That's where we are right now. The latest on that story, Pat.
Well, none of this surprises me with Morello, because I really think that he burned too many bridges, and he has made too many assumptions that he was going to get his way in Phoenix, and he was going to get the land, and he was going to get tax-free, and he was going to be able to build this entertainment district and put an arena in there, and the NHL was just going to hand him another franchise. I think he was unrealistic in thinking all this could happen, and I think he took for granted the fact that he made a lot of people mad in Phoenix and now in Tucson, and I really think it was inevitable that he was not going to get a deal done in Phoenix to get an arena. He was going to lose that opportunity, and that I think we all thought, and you and I talked about it on a couple of occasions here on the Huddle, Jason, and that is that the Roadrunners were a temporary Tucson team, and they were eventually going to move closer to Salt Lake with the Coyotes franchise moving up to Utah. And Reno seems like the right fit. And if Morello can build an arena and still hang on to the Roadrunners, that's what he's going to do. And that means my guess is you're still going to play next season. I believe you'll play the season after that for sure. And you might even play 3 more seasons before he has the arena built, but it's only a matter of time before the Roadrunners are gone.
That's too bad, because you don't want to see them be a lame duck situation. We had a situation like that about a decade ago.
Yep.
With the Tucson Padres.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a AAA baseball team that was only supposed to be 1 year. They ended up being here 3 years, 11, 12, and 13. And they were last in the Pacific Coast League all 3 years. And they eventually moved to El Paso and became the El Paso Chihuahuas. Now, they were last in attendance because people didn't want to go to Keno Stadium.
Right.
Not only did they think they were a lame duck team, but and I don't, there were criticisms of how well the team was marketed. I don't know. I think the Roadrunners have a much bigger fan base. They're considered to be Tucson's team, but I think it's going to be hard for some fans if it's a lame duck team. Maybe 2-3 years down the road is too far to think about. And I don't think they've broken ground in that arena in Reno yet either. So it's not like it's imminent. And maybe when they move to Reno, they get a new name, and Tucson gets a new AHL team, and they're also called the Roadrunners. So a lot of things still has to happen. It's not like they're only here for another 6 weeks.
No, and I think that's the way you have to, if you're a fan of the Roadrunners, which we know there's a huge core of fans, some 4,000 season ticket hold, traditionally 4,100, I think is what they got on average last year. So if you look at that 4,000 plus fan base that goes to those games on a nightly basis, they're not going to give up on this team just because, you know, a couple of years from now, they could be gone. And you know what? Something just struck me as you were talking there, Jason, and saying that is Morello's been known to just spout off before that this is going to happen, and it didn't turn out. Remember, you know, immediately after the losing the franchise and selling it for $1 billion to Utah, he said, we're going to move the Roadrunners up to Mullet Arena. And Mullet Arena was like, we don't want that team here, and we don't have time for you to have that team here. And they eventually worked out, 6 games. Now it just went away to no games at Mullet and all the games at Tucson Arena. So who knows? Who knows what the future will bring? We think we have an idea that they'll be moving, but for now, they're Tucson's team.
All right, we'll finish things up with some results of our Huddle poll question. WNBA attendance and ratings are surging. 1, it's about damn time. 2, the salaries need to go up. Or 3, can thank Caitlin Clark. So right now, Caitlin's getting the votes, and like what we said before, there's truth in all 3. It depends upon what you want to pick, and certainly Caitlin Clark a big part of that. So that's how I voted. I usually don't vote always with the one that wins, but I guess in this case I did. So that's that. Anyway, we thank Aari McDonald, our guest this week, LA Sparks guard. She and her teammates will be playing the Mercury this Friday night in Phoenix on ION TV, sister station to KGUN 9. Pat, see you downstairs for the KGUN 9 news.
We'll be there 5, 6, and 10. We'll see you.
Jason Barr, thanks everybody for watching the Huddle, and we'll see you next time.